Good morning, Tampa Bay. We've got some exciting real estate tidbits to share with you today. We're here live for the next hour to answer your real estate questions like we are every Sunday. Buying, selling, investing, mortgages and financing, building, foreclosures and short sales, luxury home staging, market analysis and prices, all that is real estate. We want to help you. Call us now to get your real estate questions answered live, 813-990-9352 in Hillsborough. Again, that's 990-9352. And Pinellas, 727-461-9352. Again, that's 461-9352, or toll free 1-800-969-9352. We've got a jam-packed show today, but never too busy to take your calls and answer your questions. Again, 990 WFLA in Hillsborough, 461-WFLA in Pinellas, and toll free 1-800-969-WFLA. You can also email us anytime at our website at theduncanduo.com. So I'm excited to have Pat Neal, the owner of Neal Communities, one of Southwest Florida's largest and most awarded home builders, and Aaron Davis, president of Tampa Bay's largest locally owned and operated title company, Hillsborough Title, on live with me today to answer your questions and give some insight into the local Tampa Bay real estate market. Unfortunately, we can't solve the debt crisis or turn around the local economy overnight, but I promise you, if you tune in, we'll help you make the right personal real estate decisions. Before I get to my guest today, I got a couple of quick announcements. There's a new grant for military first-time home buyers with MacDill Air Force Base, just a few miles away from us. Just wanted to announce this real quickly. It's a new program that was announced this week that veterans, military retirees, employees of the U.S. Department of Defense and Homeland Security, and any active duty military may be eligible for up to $5,000 to use towards down payments and closing costs if they're buying their first home, or if they're buying a home and haven't owned a home in more than 3 years. So the grants can be applied to any mortgage. It doesn't have to be a VA loan or FHA or first-time buyer loan. Any mortgage, no matter the financial institution, it can be used towards the down payment or closing costs. There are some other eligibility requirements. Just like with everything, there's always some gray area. The website, if you're interested in that or know someone that may qualify, is pentagonfoundation.org/dreammakers. Again, pentagonfoundation.org/dreammakers. And another article this week, money.com/CNN stated that Tampa is one of the top 10 best cities to buy a rental property, with prices having remained flat the last few years, and an improving labor market locally. Rents are starting to take off. We've had Dave Kincaid from Home Locators Property Management on in prior shows that's reiterated that as well. The only challenge is the secret about how great an investing opportunity is in Tampa right now is bound to get out, so if you're thinking about it, don't wait. It's expected that rental returns in Tampa Bay will be 2.4 percentage points higher than the national average this year. And we've talked about this in prior shows, but if you're looking for one of the best deals on the market in Tampa Bay, we've done the due diligence, we've taken the time, we've put forth the effort to put together a list of 30 to 50 of the best homes on the market. It's TampaBaySmokingDeals.com. Again, it's TampaBaySmokingDeals.com. I honestly can't believe one of the bargains we listed this week on Hancock Bluff Road. It's not quite as cool as Joey Fatone's mansion that Hal Lamb talked about selling in Mark Govan's show today. But 7,000 square feet, 7-bedroom, newer home on 2.5 acres, unbelievably priced at $500,000. I really don't know how it's possible to find a home in Tampa Bay with this much size and space that's newer for $500,000. So it's a steal. Again, check out TampaBaySmokingDeals.com for more details. This one will definitely fly off the shelf. So again, if you've got real estate questions, please call us. Our call-in numbers to get your questions answered live, 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas, toll-free 1-800-969-9352. All of our phone numbers end in 9352, which for the BlackBerry folks, it equals WFLA. So Pat, I've been reading some wonderful things about things going on with Neal Communities, your company's 40-year history, awards of excellence, innovative designing, and of course, it seems like you guys are also thriving through a real challenging real estate market. It's interesting, both Aaron, myself, and you all have family, family businesses that are performing, quite strongly in a challenging market, and seems like the cream rises to the top. So, how is it that Neal Communities is outpacing the market and succeeding despite some of the market's challenges?
Andrew, you know the Chinese say that every crisis is an opportunity.
That's right. Danger and opportunity.
It says right here on your bumper sticker, every disaster is a change. So the unique thing about our firm is we recognized it probably earlier than the others and completely re-engineered and retooled our product. New home builders have an advantage over people own their existing homes because we can change the product, size, mix, location, amenities to meet the new reality. Neal now builds and sells homes from $110,990 in a beautiful, amenitized, gated community with a pool called Forest Creek in Parrish. And I don't mind saying, if you'd asked me 6 years ago that I'd be selling homes at $110,990, I'd say you were silly. But it's a great home. We also build a new cottage product, which is, what would you say, neo-traditional architecture from the 19th century, which has been very popular. And we also sell our luxurious products in the country club. So the short version is, we've adapted with value, service, quality. I've been in business 42 years, so I have a reputation. I'm great in Sarasota. We do warranty in homes as long as 30 years. As long as they can call Pat Neal, there's a warranty. So, as you've said with family businesses, there's a benefit in longevity, credibility, staying around, getting around, and coming here to WFLA and so forth. So we've been doing great.
You know, it's interesting. One of the things I read the St. Pete Times article a few weeks ago. And one of the things I thought was really strong was that you mentioned not owing people money on a lot of the land. You were debt-free. I'm a big Dave Ramsey guy. We're part of Dave Ramsey's endorsed real estate program. And, I thought that was really neat because you guys didn't over-leverage yourselves.
It's a key. All my competitors are gone, Andrew, because they pledged their assets to the banks. The banks are frozen because of the federal government's changes. We just weren't in that situation. I build with cash. Sometimes we'll do a non-recourse loan through the Community Development District mechanism, but I'm in my 60s. My rule will be I'm too old to go broke.
I understand. And you also, one of the other things I remember reading about was you scaled back. You went from building much larger homes to smaller, more efficient homes.
Our average home in 2005, our sales office peaked in July 2005. 6 years ago, our average home is about 2,752 square feet. Now our average home is less than 2,000 square feet. So everything's changed. Plate, size, some of the things we put in the home, size of the lot, and so forth. And we now build a very economic home.
You know, I'll tell you what. It seems the Tampa, specifically in Tampa, our building market has been kind of slow and sluggish. I'm ready for you guys to just go ahead and migrate on up this way.
It'll get things moving.
I don't know how you want me to answer that. I'd say they're way different markets. Britain and Sarasota is 50 or 55% retirees. Those incomes in cash come from South Bend, Indiana, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a different world than here in Tampa, actually. Tampa is a workforce-based housing market.
Yeah, completely different. So, one of the reasons why I love having someone like you on the show is, we talk a lot about the statistics, and for anyone that's looking for a Tampa real estate market update, I just, a couple weeks ago, recorded a YouTube video. It's on our YouTube page. You can search for The Duncan Duo. It's basically a quick video just analyzing local real estate stats, but one of the reasons I love having you on the show is because you guys as builders can see trends and things going on in your communities that we can't see, that's not public data, traffic at your sales centers. So what kind of activity are you guys seeing in your new construction starts, floor activity in your sales centers compared to maybe some market statistics?
I'll go first. Of course, the retiree is always there. They've retired last week in South Bend. Our job is to have the best product, the best price, with the most features, and we've had a consistent following. Our closings are 40 to 50 per month among the retired population of our state. Earlier in this year, we found a lot of consumer confidence among people in the working ages. We've seen a little bit of a fall off in the last 60 days. Now, just in the last 7 to 10 days, we've had a big spurt in sales. So I'm hoping there's consumer confidence or lower interest rates, or people recognizing that this is the day to get a great value.
It's a great opportunity. And again, you're listening to the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. If you have questions about Neal Communities, the building industry, or real estate, call us. We'll get you some answers. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas, and toll free 1-800-969-9352. Pat, where do you see the new construction market, in say maybe the next 12 months, and then maybe forecast it out in the future?
First, I'm going to answer with a little bit of a predicate. Remember, the new construction market is only about 9% of the total market.
Right.
So you have to see it as a subset of the whole. New homes are a little bit different in that they have warranty and service. We offer financing options that you normally cannot get in the market. So we think new homes will climb out a little better than the resales. Second factor that I think we all recognize is that the diminution of foreclosures is now out in the marketplace. We don't compete with foreclosures anymore. The foreclosures are 2 years old, the meter's been removed, they're full of mold and problems. Foreclosures are just no longer part of our market. And because of the mortgage loan crisis, it'll be a long time before all those foreclosures come in. Now, having said all that, I think we'll have a flat or moderately upward market for a few months. Flat or moderately upward, bounce up, bounce down, bounce up. But in the end game, we're going to have an enormous boom in our community. Remember that by 2022, 40% of all the people in the workplace will have retired, basically the boomers. 1/6 of all Americans will retire to this state. That'll be 13 million people between now and 2023. And during that course of time, 5 or 6 million Floridians will die, but we'll still have a population increase of almost 6 million people, divided by 2.3, perhaps 2.5 million homes, and that means we're going to have a boom in this state.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing people have to keep in mind is that when you're buying real estate, you have to think long term. You know, so many people worry about, you know, what's going on this month or maybe the past few months, but if you look at it on long-term scales, you're always okay.
People think they've lost money, but if they haven't sold their home, they've lost nothing.
Right.
They need to continue doing what they're doing. Florida has always been an exceptional place, and it's an exceptional place in this world because of the environment, location, sun, all the amenities of Florida. It's going to be fine. My advice to people who are upside down or waiting or wondering is just wait for tomorrow, and it'll be different.
Right. And again, you're listening to the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. We've actually got a giveaway that we're going to announce after the break. For you golfers out there, I promise, stay tuned. We've got some more questions for Pat Neal talking about the new construction market in the Sarasota-Bradenton area, and then Aaron Davis will answer some questions about, you know, what's going on in our local market and some new data and trends. But again, stay tuned, get ready, write down the phone numbers. I promise we've got a great giveaway coming. The phone numbers again, 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. And we'll be right back after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. And we are back talking with Pat Neal from Neal Communities and Aaron Davis from Hillsborough Title. And I told you after the break we'd have a great giveaway, and here it is. I know we've got some big-time golf fans listening. The caller for the rest of the show that hits us with the best question, you've got to impress Aaron Davis, Pat Neal, and myself with just an awesome question, and you will win a 4-pack for a round of golf at University Park Country Club. This is one of the best golf courses in Central Florida or Southwest Florida. A great course, consistently rated 4 stars, featured by the Golf Channel. A tough course, but if you're a golfer, you need to call us with a great question. You'll win a gift certificate for a round of golf at University Park Country Club in Sarasota. Again, our call-in numbers for your questions are 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas, and 1-800-969-9352 toll-free to win a pack of, 4-pack for a round of golf at University Park Country Club. So, Pat, obviously you guys are doing great right now, but you mentioned, a few minutes ago some of the financing options that you guys in new construction are able to work with. Would you mind maybe touching on some of those things?
Remember, the best thing about a new home is you get what you want. You get the floor plan that you want, you get the location you want, and you get the financing you want. About 50% of our people pay cash, but those who don't pay cash, for us, they can still get the 203B FHA loan. 3.5% down. I actually can provide up to 6% of the purchase price and benefit. So it's still true, notwithstanding the credit crisis that we had 6 years ago, that if you have a good credit score, that's the difference. If you have a good credit score and good employment, we offer in new homes FHA financing, which you typically can't get or have to go through a much more difficult process getting in pre-owned homes. So financing is still available. Surprisingly, oddly, in our new economy, about 50% of our new customers pay cash.
That's actually great, and we've been seeing a lot of that. Cash is king right now. And obviously, there's some great opportunities in new home construction right now. And Aaron, you and I have talked about this in some prior shows, and I'm just kind of amazed that, more people aren't taking advantage of the new construction market right now. They're buying up the foreclosure and the short sales in our local market in Tampa Bay because I think they think it's such a great deal, but I think they forget about how much cash they're going to outlay. Why do you think people aren't just jumping all over new construction?
Andrew, I think there's in general about a 6-month lag time of information from the time that maybe me and you know it to the general population knows it. Just like we've been preaching, for months now that this market's fantastic. It's just it takes a while for everyone else to catch up to that. Right now, you said it a couple of weeks ago that the inventory of homes is now under 6 months. So what's going to happen is as those homes disappear off the market, these new construction communities, what they can offer as far as closing cost assistance, the rates, and then paying and getting what you want built, I think these things are going to start flying off the shelves.
Plus warranted, brand new, never lived in, everything's new, a lot less risk. I mean, you can hire a home inspector, and we have Randy Noon on from BPG, and he does a great job, but let's face it, home inspectors miss stuff. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we hear from people who go to sell their home or buy a home and they had a bad experience where maybe a home inspector missed something. When it's a new build, there's a lot less, not to say you don't need a home inspector, but nonetheless there are a lot less issues compared to a home built in the 50s,
Right. With a 10-year warranty.
Right, exactly, so you can take care of it.
10-year warranty, so if you miss it, you still have a competent builder who's going to come back and fix it.
Right, and it's just remarkable to me that more people, I talk to my team every week about it, and I just, if you get a buyer asking in certain neighborhoods, make sure, get them out to the new construction communities, because it is just, unbelievable opportunity. I think our market's going to see a big swing on that in the next couple of years with inventory being so low, just like you mentioned.
I believe so.
So, again, we've still got room for some of your questions. You need to call us with a question to qualify and win a round of golf for 4 to University Park Country Club in Sarasota. University Park Country Club golf course, one of the most highly rated golf courses in Southwest Florida. And again, the phone number is 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas, and toll free 1-800-969-WFLA. It appears that some stats coming out from the National Association of Realtors show an alarming number of canceled contracts happening right now with deals falling apart. In May, only 1 in 25 realtors reported having a sale, fall apart, and then in June it was 1 in 6. So more than 4 times as many realtors experiencing deals falling apart. Our team, averages selling 20 homes a month, and we've also seen this hit. In fact, one of the reasons why we shifted our business model a couple of years ago is because all the intricacies that could cause real estate transactions to fall apart. We actually hired a full-time person to be our transaction coordinator to work through basically everything there is to do with the transaction to keep it together. He was a prior, title agent whose whole job is really taking our deals from contract to closing. But even with a full-time employee facilitating things, we're still impacted by, the things that we're seeing right now. Some of the reasons, and we'll touch on them a little bit more, after the news break. But economy, consumer confidence, debt ceiling concerns, short sales, appraisal and financing obstacles, a whole lot of reasons why, it appears that over the past couple of months more deals are falling apart. So. And we're here to take your questions about it after a quick news break. Our call-in numbers again, 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas, and toll-free 1-800-969-9352 to get your real estate questions answered. And we'll be right back after a quick news break with our very own Hal Lamb.
The Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. Now, your host, Andrew Duncan.
We are back here, and got a couple callers that have been patiently waiting with their questions, and I'm going to go first to line 1, Ron and Valrico. Ron, you're looking at buying a condo near Channelside? Yeah, and I'll tell you that's a common problem in Channelside because of again the foreclosure crisis. Some of those buildings exchanged hands a couple of different times between builders and banks, and a lot of them are rented out. Again, I think it's a problem that'll fix itself over time, but certainly the occupancy rates for owners in some of the communities aren't as strong as some people would like. That can, that can absolutely happen because again, if you've got delinquency, the HOA has to stay solvent and pay the bills. So if you've got a certain percentage of people that haven't been paying, then that's got to be passed on to other owners to keep the bills paid. But I will say that I've been seeing a trend, at least over the last year or so, where I haven't been seeing a huge rise in the HOA fees because I think that most of the HOAs have taken the hit already.
Yeah, I I think the HOAs have already addressed the issue, so it's only going to get better and less expensive from here.
I think so too. I mean, from what I'm seeing, even in channel side, I'm not seeing the HOA fees skyrocket as much anymore. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate your call. Have a great rest of your day. And we're going to go next to line 2 with Laura in St. Pete. Laura, you want to? You've got some questions about the shadow inventory and the impact on the Tampa market. I don't think it's as big as predicted, and I also think, and we've actually got an article where we're going to talk about this in the last segment of the show. I'm not seeing as many of them hit the market, and I think the banks, you know, for a variety of reasons like we've talked about, they're not wanting to load them all in at once because it'll impact the market too negatively. But I think they've also gotten more creative with modifications and short sales to keep the homes from hitting the market as foreclosures. So, and Pat, you had something to touch on that as well.
I'd like to remark about what the shadow inventory is. Remember, we've been in this now 6 years. These have been homes that have no meters. The pools are green. The trees have fallen. What you see is what you get, and sometimes you don't know what you're getting. To my mind, the shadow inventory has ceased to be competition for what we're doing. Most of the people buying shadow inventory are fixer-uppers and renters. We'll go from about 68% owners to about 64% owners in our region. But those homes really will be rebuilt for renters, held for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and then turned again during the boom.
And I think that's the key. I mean, in terms of my opinion of the shadow inventory, from what I've seen, we've been hearing for so long, oh, there's just going to be this glut of foreclosures, and it just hasn't happened, and I don't necessarily know that it's going to. It's certainly the foreclosure market's going to be around for the next few years, but I see things stabilizing in Tampa. I don't see some huge wave of foreclosures throttling our market. Does that help answer your question, Laura? I think it's going to, again, I think we're going to remain flat for at least, a good period of time. I'm starting to see the value stabilize. I mean, we really haven't seen a huge price drop in the city of Tampa in the last couple of years. So I don't see prices dropping dramatically, but I also don't see them going up in the interim. I think I see them staying pretty steady.
But I think you're going to see that those, I mean, you're seeing it already, where you have some of these listings that hit the market and you're having this competition I mean, they're literally selling right off the bat.
Yeah, real estate's about supply and demand. I mean, if you list a good house at a good price, it flies off the shelf still today. I mean, that's tried and true. So, my opinion is that the shadow inventory has done a lot to help people read newspapers and watch the news, but I haven't seen it impact.
I think it's like Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's out there. We just haven't seen it.
Bigfoot. Does that help, Laura? I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. And we've got Bob in Clearwater. Bob, you got a question about a home inspection. It looks like you're curious if the inspector is liable for a cost if he misses something. And again, it depends on the specific home inspector and what the agreement is with them. I know most of them put liability disclaimers in their inspection reports and in the billing stuff that more or less protects them. I think it would depend on how egregious the issue is that is missed. But if it's something you're really dissatisfied with, certainly worth a phone call to the home inspection company and see if they'll make it right. A lot of them that are small mom and pop companies rely on word of mouth referrals for their business and keeping customers satisfied. So they, I've had home inspectors miss stuff, and then they'll end up taking care of it. So, I would at least address it with them. All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it, Bob. Too. So again, you're listening to the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show, and we still have a golf certificate to give away. We might have room for a couple more callers before the end of the show today. Again, our call-in numbers are 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas, and toll-free 1-800-969-9352. We were talking a few minutes ago about how many homes were what we were seeing with homes falling apart. And, Pat, you had mentioned that you guys weren't seeing that. And
Not
I think
at all.
That's
it's like you said, we read a lot of things that we just don't see at all.
Yeah.
And we are not seeing homes collapse. We think people have confidence in what they've bought. We think they like the new, they like the financing, they like the 10-2. We deal with professionals like Aaron on the closing. For happiness for a customer, the closing agent and the closing process is one of the most important things. So we have the issues put together, and we just have not seen the
That's great.
breakout that you.
And I think that, and like Aaron and I, like we were talking about, I think the issues, a lot of those are short sales. A lot of it are appraisal and financing scenarios that you don't have in a new construction community where there's just so much valid data that you guys have such a amount of material to provide to those professionals to make sure that the deal stays through. But
yeah, on those new construction homes, you don't have all of these hidden issues out there with short sales and foreclosure and all the moving parts of closing these days. It's pretty much see what you like, put it under contract, you move in 3 to 6 months later.
right. So, I've been to a couple real estate conferences over the past few weeks, and I feel like I'm just getting used to my own bed again. But, my wife and I, we constantly travel to meet some of the top realtors in the world to learn about new ideas to help our clients. And it's amazing how much technology is beginning to impact our local market. QR codes scannable by phones, ability to search homes on your iPhone, apps that help you make real estate decisions. But I actually learned something really neat that I'd love to hear anyone's feedback about. But it's about virtual staging. Basically, you hire a company that takes a vacant house or even one with furniture, and through the use of technology, they modify the pictures and the floor plans to show how it could be set up or furnished. Now, again, they don't move walls or change the house itself, but changing paint colors, changing furniture that's in the home. It's very similar to what an actual stager does. There's some argument in the real estate industry about whether or not it's ethical. Then the people that are contending that it is are saying, okay, we'll put the before and the current and the actual and the touched photos up. But if you've got a question about this or if you're curious about it, I'd love to share some insight with you. But I think it's a trend with technology that's going to stick around for a while.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's the same thing as happens whenever you're doing a landscape design. They take a picture of the raw house and then they add what it's going to look like so you can envision what the product's going to be.
Right, and it's similar. I mean, it's similar to what an actual home stager does. Mm-hmm. It's just that and it looks, I mean, I saw some of the technology pieces. It looks, I mean, you can't tell, it doesn't look fake. Like, it looks like that's really the couch and that's really the table.
Right.
And you can put stuff on the wall, and I mean, it's amazing. So it's something that we're definitely going to start implementing for a lot of our clients. But virtual staging is something I think might be around for a little while. So, again, call us if you've got questions. And, I've almost made it through the whole show without talking about foreclosures. But I got one real quick topic that I want to talk about before we take a couple of callers. But the Obama administration is considering a plan that would take foreclosures off the market and then have them rented out, either by the government holding them and renting them or by selling them bulk to private investors that would be prevented from selling them to prevent what some people talk about with the foreclosures hitting the market from having any kind of impact. Some believe the plan could reduce distressed sales by 30% and keep prices 3 to 5% higher. And again, they could put stuff in title and through the deed that would prevent them from flipping them. But I was actually intrigued when I read this. It sounds kind of outside the box. It's kind of an interesting twist on dealing with the current foreclosure phenomenon.
It sounds like an actual good idea that's come out. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
The first part of it I hate. I do not want the government owning homes and being a landlord.
But selling them to bulk private
absolutely.
investors sounds kind of interesting.
I like the idea.
It's and again, if it can keep less homes hitting the market, keep the inventory in line, and the folks that do have concerns about some sort of surge in foreclosure inventory, at least it keeps things stabilized. So I'm actually excited to hear about that. So and we've got Buck who's been patiently waiting in Sarasota. Buck, you've got a question about getting your property taxes reduced, and I'm going to let Pat take this one.
Hey Buck, that was a really great commercial. Thank you.
Yeah, put him on the payroll.
And we hadn't.
Put him on the payroll.
We had. Hey Buck, we didn't set this up beforehand, did we? I didn't. Buck, I think the first thing I do Charlie Hackney at the Property Appraiser's Office at Manatee has been very helpful. If I were you, I'd call Robin Tardif, 748-8208. He runs the Residential Property Appraisal Department. Robin Tardif, 748-8208. He's very approachable. He's very nice. All you have to do is go to the MLS computer, get the sales on your street, or do a little research to see what the sales are. And I can tell you the experience of everyone I've talked with Robin is he'll certainly give you a good hearing. And if there's a chance to reduce your assessments, he'll do so. Remember that your trim notices come out September 1st, and you have till September 15th under Truth and Millage. After September 15th, you're too late to make a change. So if I were you, I would beat the trim notices. I'd call Robin tomorrow morning. On the veterans benefit, of course, your veterans benefit isn't affected by the disability, although you do get some if you buy a new home, you get some disability.
Pat, we've actually got to go to a quick commercial break. Buck, I'm going to put you on hold, and we will check back in to answer the rest of your question after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show.